Good morning, everyone. So happy you're with us today. And if everyone will mute yourselves, we will appreciate it. My name's Jan Carothers. It's my pleasure to bless and welcome each one of you today and always. In unity, we believe each of us dwells in spirit, and each of us is here today by divine appointment. The Unity Center is a ministry where people of all ages, backgrounds, and beliefs celebrate the one common spiritual thread that lives in every heart. That is our mission statement and what we truly believe. If you're new to Unity or the Unity Center of West Lynn, we invite you to visit our website, www.worldhealing.org. Now, that's a little different from what one might expect, but it's worldhealing.org. And we have an opening prayer from Jan.
Let's close our eyes together and know that there is only one life. There's only one mind, one heart, one living presence working in each of our own lives. And we know today is the perfect day. Each of us is fully in the light, blessed by it for our health, for our abundance, our peace, our wisdom, our ability to reach out and hold others dear. In this time of change and growing opportunities, we see ourselves as whole, perfect, and complete, and grateful for the opportunity to be in communion, to be with others, and to share what we all hope, what we all know, and what we all extend to others: peace, joy, and love. And so it is. Amen.
Thanks, Jan. And our reading this morning is from a little booklet, The Power of Intention. And I think this is from some older daily words. This one is on prosperity. I am open to a rich flow of divine ideas that prosper my life. God has created a powerful, regenerating universe. For instance, a stream of water builds in volume and energy while flowing down a mountain. So too does the creative power of God build within me as I let it flow in my awareness. I connect with God's creative power by opening my heart and mind in prayer. In those still, quiet moments, I merge my thoughts with the creative power that energizes all, from tiny particles to large stars. I may realize divine ideas of abundance and well-being in an instant, or they may build over time. In whatever manner the abundance takes form, I am in the flow of creative power that is active in the universe. I know that I am blessed. And from John Randolph Price, when I'm aware of the God self within me as my total fulfillment, I am totally fulfilled. I am now aware of this truth. I have found the secret of life, and I relax in the knowledge that the activity of divine abundance is eternally operating in my life. I simply have to be aware of the flow, the radiation of that creative energy, which is continuously, easily, and effortlessly pouring forth from my divine consciousness. I am now aware. I am now in the flow. And we have an opening piece of music to lead us into hearing Jan talk on her third part of the series of the talks, Strength for the Storm. Today's is Recovering the Love in Your Personal Storms.
As time has unfolded me, it has revealed to me life's nothing less than sublime. With every thought I make, every last breath I take, may I be gracious and kind. Love, I invite you to open up this heart of mine. Love, cover me, light any darkness. Love, cover me, right every wrong. Cause me to see love over hatred. Guide me to be faithful and strong. Love, cover me. Love, cover me. Kindness wash over me, make me a symphony. Play every note you can find. Make me reverberate, gently deactivate, slowly flow out of my mind. Find me a melody, dance and let my anthem be. Love, cover me, light any darkness. Love, cover me, right every wrong. Cause me to see love over hatred. Guide me to be faithful and strong. Love, cover me. 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 I will not be shaken. I will not be moved. Love, cover me. May my heart awaken, tenderness be proved. Love, cover me. Love, cover me. Love, 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 love. Love, 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 love. Love, I invite you to open up this heart of mine. Love, cover me, light any darkness. Love, cover me, right every wrong. Cause me to see love over hatred. Guide me to be faithful and strong. Love, cover me. Love, cover me. Love, cover me. Love, cover me. Love, 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 love. Love, 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 love.
I do love that song. Recovering the love in your spiritual and your personal storms. Now, nearly everyone will encounter times of disappointment and annoyance, anger, conflict in your relationships, even if you have been in relationship for all your life. And sometimes we just wonder, where is the love? And it can happen like this. You've fallen in again. It was a nothing special, not particularly challenging day. It starts out small. One of you says something that sounds off to the other, and the response is surprising. One of you takes offense, and someone raises their voice, and that return is decidedly snarky. And shouting ensues, and someone makes an accusation, and someone else makes a sweeping generalization. There's a little name calling, a little shouting, and maybe there's a door slamming, and then silence, thick, icy silence. But the conflict isn't over. Actually, while you've left the room, you've actually gone to your sides, to your corners. And the storm, noisy as it was, isn't probably over, is it? We don't actually have to be present for the storm to continue to rage. For the immediate future, each of you has likely carved out a jaggedy piece of territory in the other person's mind. And the conversation, if you could call it that, well, the fight is still not over. No, we replay it, devise better tactics for the next time. Maybe wish the other one ill, perhaps some tiny revenge, even withdrawal. You question for yourself, how dare they talk to me like this? Who do they think I am? Who do they think they are? Well, why do I have him or her as my spouse, partner, parent, child, brother or sister, neighbor, housemate, friend, staff, boss? I grant you, sometimes these storms are not always so noisy or as upfront. Depending upon your age and your skill set, they may in fact be quite different. Most of us by this age have discovered some ways to recognize the weather storm patterns, right? But even so, once in a while, despite our best intentions, we can still get caught up in our own storms, not always of our instigation, but always with our participation. And yet when we do get hooked and we fall in, we get upset, we can feel hopeless, and we can ask ourselves pitifully, how did I get here again? Now, maybe you are one who feels pretty mature and you're not inclined to actually voice your differences. You don't want to rock the boat. And so you put up with a lot of difficulties in order to avoid any unpleasantness in your world. You share nothing. You don't help solve the problem. Instead, you just quietly or abruptly cut off the other person. And therefore, you lose all that the relationship could be in the future. After all, you think, I have other friends, other clients, other relatives. I don't really need to have this person in my life. I have other options. So we avoid the storms in person, but we carry the unresolved discord and sadness or anger in some part of our minds. And you notice, sadly, your world is growing smaller. Or you don't do either of these things. You silently keep track of whatever upsets you, all the while being very nice, but you seethe under the surface and your mood leaks out to others, disrupting those around you as you complain in subtle ways, you think, letting others know about your grievances and how bad you think your life is and how bad certain other people are. But one day something triggers you and you blow up at one person, causing a huge drama, taking tons of energy, upsetting all around. And for some reason, you discover you're trying to get that person to atone for all your upsets and your unexpressed communications, and for feeling misunderstood and underappreciated and dominated or ill-treated, the victim of other people's thoughtlessness and bad behavior. Now, I'm not saying that our grievances and our mistakes may not have occurred. They do, and they definitely are important to address and to resolve. And in fact, all of those things exist in us, therefore in God. It's just that how we are able and willing to handle the conflicts in our relationship, all of them, will determine and influence the expansiveness and creative energy, and most of all, the love that we allow into our lives. Now, it seems to me I can generate a pretty good storm over the wrongdoings and simple annoyances that from others. I can generate that myself. You know what I'm talking about? Can you? The great news is that they're all practice, spiritual practice for resolving our differences consciously, increasing our sense of our wholeness and our self-worth, and serving others' needs for our authenticity and love. Now, each of the three scenarios I mentioned come from being unwilling to see conflict as part of the way of God. So today, I want each of us to hear and to come to truly believe we can recover the love in our personal storms. This year, Unity's theme, our annual theme, is how to stay centered no matter what. And that no matter what is just not the conditions of the world. It obviously at one level is a response to what we're going through with the viral pandemic and the unrest and all of the challenges of our world today. It's fair to say that lockdowns, stressful conditions have really been rough on relationships. The deaths, the illness, the loss and fears are heartbreaking. Did you know that the divorce rate is higher this year than ever? Families who are sharing custody between parents are going through so many challenges of agreements. Mental health, emotional health, physical health, economic health, all may be disrupted. So understandably, even small things are creating disproportionate stress. And that theme is a spiritual promise calling us to dwell and seek our inner center, to stay awake to our soul, especially when things are difficult. And wherever we go, there are possibility of personal storms. I have been reading a wonderful book. I have to reach for it here. Whoops. And it's a book we talked about earlier in the series called The Eye of the Storm by Gary Simmons, Unity minister, author, and martial artist. He began a worldwide peacekeeping ministry for Unity and for Unity Worldwide Ministries. And the subtitle of the book is particularly interesting. It's Embracing Conflict and Creating Peace. Embracing conflict, not something we generally think about as really appealing to us. But to be able to embrace conflict, we have to understand one fundamental spiritual principle, and it's this: no one is against you. No one is against us. That is the absolute truth. Even if you think you have plenty of evidence from your whole life to the contrary, the entire universe is for us. And you and I must awaken to the truth there really is only one presence and one power at work in our lives. And that presence and power lives in us as the Spirit of God. And so for that reason, nothing can be against you. There is only one of us. And to realize this is to claim your divine inheritance as a beloved creation of the infinite. Well, that's fine, Jan, but sometimes it sure doesn't seem like it, does it? I mean, if he's not against me, then what are we fighting about? Well, actually, it's probably nothing about you at all. Our fights are always about the other, their baggage, their upset, their feelings, and their doubts and insecurities, your sense of loss and inferiority. When we are in a fight, it's always about us, but not from their perspective. It's about our baggage, our upsets, our feelings of doubt and insecurity. Maybe it was something you said. Maybe it was something you did. Maybe it's something that he or she feels the relationship needs. And the relationship is important. And while maybe they're communicating unskillfully, even hurtfully, it's still not about us. It's about something they want, need, hope for. It's about them, and therefore to be listened to for the sake of the relationship, not defended for the sake of our ego or for fear of facing our growing edges or the fear of taking responsibility for our own mistakes. And I appreciate it, how hard it can be to square up our felt experience with our beliefs at times. But really, with all of our extraordinary diversity, it's only one life playing out. And we have to remember that life is moving us to be further willing to have the way of God flow into every aspect of our life here. And we can be expressing the way of God, or at times we find ourselves in the way of God, blocking the flow of love and peace in our own lives. Does this sound familiar? And when we do, we experience resistance and pressure and stress and discord and conflict, which may be a natural part of the challenging curriculum we are engaged in here on Earth. And Earth can be a volatile, dynamic place for sure. We must learn to work together, skillfully and lovingly, to work through the creative problems that confront us. At home, at church, work, schools, health, government, in climate, and most of all, at home here in our hearts. The great thing about the title of the book is the eye of the storm is the capital I, not the I, or if you will, the I am of the storm. You know about hurricanes and how they work. They are a huge circular pattern of furiously agitated air swirling around, wet wind sweeping up trees and goods and tragically homes and people as well, and then depositing them far, far from home. But at the center of that structure is a place of abiding calm, the absence of chaos, of peace, the center, the I, the soul. Now, the simple but not easy pathway for finding the love in your personal storms is to be able to move ourselves from the edge of the dangerous, agitated edge and move ourselves continuously and remove ourselves continuously into that center. You know, really stormy weather isn't fun unless you're prepared with dry boots and warm socks and a good raincoat and so on. With spirit, you know you always have a warm place in the center of the storm, no matter how terrifying, no matter who started it, no matter who's right and who's wrong. What it takes is training our minds and dwelling in spirit. That's preparing ourselves with a well-stocked emergency bag. In our journey here to fully realize our spirit selves, we are called to make peace. We're called to unity. And in the divine, there isn't dogma, sides, winning, revenge, etc. There's only love. And that love calls us to grow in being able to love each other, and especially when we present ourselves as less than lovable. So if you find yourself in one of those uncomfortable conflict situations and not inclined to embrace it, one way we can help ourselves move into the center is to recognize there are 4 conditions, 4 winds of conflict that are almost always present. One of them is almost always the source of our conflict. The first one is a sense of separation. We believe we're alone, and we know that is not the truth. None of us can ever be alone, as we're deep in the heart of the divine. And that perception leads us to think that others are against us. And we do know that we have a great deal of freedom to choose our experience and the meanings we attach to them. So when we feel separate, we need to choose to remember that we are not alone. The second one is misperception. Misperception. I know this is hard to believe, but we are not omniscient. We can't see the whole picture, ever. As human beings, most of us think that we know way more than we do, but we simply cannot see into another person, their thoughts, their hopes, their dreams, their fears, motives, intentions, etc. We think we do. We cast aspersions on people, but we need to have the humility to be curious rather than the arrogance of knowing about them, about the situation, about what's best for them and you. Now, perhaps the mystics have a grander view. Maybe they see more of the truth of life and consciousness. But we want to accept that we are growing to that, but we rarely ever fully see. Our view as human beings is conditioned, and it's our job, our task in conflict is to keep widening the view rather than narrowing our view of our fellow human beings, remembering who we all are. The third wind that supports conflict is competition. This is where our values and our goals differ. And this exposes a fundamental belief in lack. In other words, we fight to win because our imagination is too limited to believe that all things are possible in God. Where if you win, I fear I'll lose, and that somehow my survival is at stake in this fight. When we're in competition with others, it's probably our sense of identity in our ego that are holding the reins. We have to find a way to realize that usually there is way more available for us than the either or options that we present each other. I win, you lose. And D, defensiveness. And his co-partner in crime, judgment. If we didn't have judgment swirling around our minds, what would we feel we need to defend? Most of us have not fully healed our sense of self-worth. We experience ourselves as needlessly defensive, and we do it. Sometimes we're defensive. We can even see ourselves doing it. And what our defensiveness seems to be at its base is a plea to know that we are okay, that we're safe, that we're loved, whole, even when we don't believe it ourselves. And in part, because we don't believe it, we're on the alert for slights. And remember, the universe always says yes to you. Our thoughts, backed by powerful emotion, if we feel that we're being slighted, the universe says yes. And that's a painful swirl. It's a personal judgment, a personal storm we create and carry in our own heads and hearts. And so the strategy is often to provoke fights, even when we don't actually admit it. So defending and judging is more than just resistance. We actually get hurt by it. It's another way we manage to get ourselves in the way of God. So how do we grow our willingness and our ability to make friends with conflict? To embrace the opportunities to learn and grow? I came up from my experience and from my reading and there's so much wisdom on the subject. A list of 12 items, tools, activities that we can do to recover the love in our personal storms. And I only am going to be able to mention about 5 of them. So I am going to make a list and send those out to people. And if you want that list, please put your email in the chat or get hold of me personally later. But I'm happy to send that. I'll be developing that in the next few days. This talk is also going to be done next week in Boulder, Colorado for the Center for Spiritual Living. And they're going to also want that list. So it'll be out in a week or so. The first task is to resist the quick response, no matter what. We recognize that we have the power to choose our words, our reactions. Viktor Frankl reminds us that even in the direst of situations, no one can take away our power to choose our thoughts and our reactions. Second one, do we consciously choose to claim love, despite how it feels right now? Is it possible for us to feel anger and to love at the same time? Well, of course, as all parents know that. Most spouses and siblings know that. But our egos don't always remember it. I love you, and I'm angry with you right now. Or do we act out our anger and blame in irresponsible ways that are going to ensnare us and hurt us both for a while? So we can have 2 emotions that seem to be opposite all at the same time. The third tool is essential and hard to do sometimes in the middle of the fray. Take a time out. Wise friends and painful experience have taught us that when you can't say anything that won't fuel a senseless fire, that will surely burn you both, one must call a break. And don't make it a threat. Don't use it as another tactic. It's a wise choice to stop, to call a break, to leave. Don't run after the other one to continue the shouting and demanding and provoking. That's one of the things I find myself constantly, I have to stop myself from running after. Accept the need for a break. Go somewhere else. Go for a walk, a run, chop wood, do yoga, open up a spiritual book, yell or cry if that's what happens. It's best not to go to the fridge or to the bar. You think I'm kidding. And say when you will check back. Doesn't mean you will continue the conversation, but say when you'll come back. No leaving, no stomping out and storming off in the car, which is aggressive in itself. When you do leave, try to release the conversation mentally as well. Give your heart and brain some respite. Get your blood pressure down. Gently release your mental prosecutor and defense team, who, by the way, if you don't, are going to be totally involved, feeding on your adrenaline and preparing those zinger comeback lines, nursing and rehearsing and nursing and rehearsing. And they're going to build a new winning case. It's so easy to fall back into defending and justifying and blaming, and especially if you've been preparing all through the time out. This is the perfect time for breathing exercises and prayer. And here's the thing. The task is to go back with as much openness as possible. If not, you go back out on break again, but you tell each other when you'll be back and check in. It takes 20 minutes minimum for adrenaline to even begin to drain, so don't have high expectations. One of our best friends, a great couple, long time, happily married, I would say brilliantly married for more than 4 decades. We've spent time with them and learned that they, in fact, have gone through times in which they could barely say good morning to each other without having to take a time out, sometimes multiple times a day. So it seems like maybe we go through cycles that are sometimes harder and sometimes easier. But what they found is, and what they describe, is that they have had 5 different marriages with each other over the years because of how they've grown and changed so much through their learning together. Maybe you too will find the need to repeat breakouts, timeouts, until you begin to see through the fog, asking yourself, who are they, you, each to each other? What do you really want and what's important here? Taking us to the 4th step, one of you will take a small risk to reopen themselves, to try again. This time not to win, but to just be with each other. Sometimes you simply set a truce. You allow each other to be vulnerable, to set aside the temptation to retaliate, even in the slightest way. And maybe that person will be you. Maybe along the way, you'll begin to see that person as a divine teacher, a partner in your awakening. Sometimes, as the late, great Ram Dass called it, it feels like fierce grace. But when you think about it, who better than this person? My husband and I have been married 32 years. And over that time, we've been able to recover the love in our fights, and we do fight, from going from days to hours to minutes. That doesn't mean we don't go through cycles, but it does mean that we've learned. And the 5th point is to call your silent observer. Call your God self into the fray. You have an observer always available, and it will allow you to begin to see the situation as if you were a neutral third party who would actually look at what happened without all the story, the spin, the interpretation, the feeling abused, yada, yada, yada. And when you do that, you may be able to take more responsibility for the situation than you have yet done. As I said, it is always with our participation. And when we do that, we can free ourselves from feeling like a victim. And the last one is we should look and listen to the messages of the world. The whole world is a mirror. As Pema Chodron said in Courage to Love the World, she said, the world has given us or gives us an endless supply of messages if we will but look and listen. So when you can bring yourself into the center of the storm and realize that you are a soulful being, I invite you to remember a wonderful ancient saying that Gary Simmons talks about called return to mountain, embrace tigers. So we return to the mountain's safety. We remember the solidity and the safety. And along the way to get there, we embrace the tigers along the way. Now, we might feel like we've been chewed on before. And so embracing a tiger doesn't sound that appealing. However, we know with our remembrance of who we are, with our spiritual wisdom and personal accountability and healing communication skills, we can use those things to peacefully tame the tigers. And we will come through with strength for the storm. Eswaran, who I talked about in the very first session, says when we get upset, it's not because life upsets us. We get upset because we're upsettable. With practice, everyone can develop a mind that's unupsettable. And one of the best ways to do this is to give complete attention and respect to those around us, particularly when we differ. And he gives us the guidance, kindness in words, action, and ultimately in thought. If you're like me, I find when I get older, I am simply reminding myself over and over again of what I already know in my heart and as you already know in yours. But in tense situations, we sometimes forget. The great Maya Angelou inspiringly said, have courage to trust love one more time, and always one more time. We recover the love only by choosing to, not by being resigned or hopeless or discouraged. It's declaring that your relationship can and will go on together, repairing where necessary, appreciating your mutual values, making changes, and choosing again to trust, love, and come back stronger. This is a formula that works for every single relationship in your life. We don't let upsets go unresolved, but we learn how to do it from the center. We will find that we can find that center and stay there longer, be more authentically ourselves, act consciously and compassionately to recover the love. And then we will never be the same. Next time, and the last session in this series is going to be on February 28th. I'll be exploring a word we have not said today. And that title is Practicing the Art of Forgiveness. which is the complex next step on the path of peace. I hope you can join us. And I look forward to being able to join you afterwards for a lively discussion. And so remember, at the spirit level, there's only one of us and we're on a journey. And let's make it our intention to gather as much light and share as much love as we can so we can stay in the eye of the storm. And by the way, this coming Sunday is Valentine's Day. I'm wondering if there's anyone that you can send a Valentine that needs a little love, and or perhaps where you could recover some love. So in advance, happy Valentine's Day. So let's close our eyes together and say with me, I am a calm center of peace. I am a calm center of peace, radiating love in every way, radiating love in every way. I speak my word in gratitude for the gift of this spiritual community, for every relation in our life, for our wise ministers and guides, and for the opportunity to know and practice great spiritual truths, and the power of love and choice and faith and commitment. I choose in every way, in moment by moment, to find and be kindness. With my deepest heart, I endeavor to be the way of God, to express the best. With that, today and every day, I know that God is, we are, and all is well. And so it is.
Love is alive in the space between us. Feel that love right now. God speaks out in the words between us. Hear those words right now. I am holy. You are holy. There is beauty between us. Spirit shines in the light between us. See that light right now. Peace is born in the good between us. Be that peace right now. I am holy. You are holy. There is beauty between us.
you, Jan, for that message. I know I forget sometimes that I'm not by myself, that I am is within me, and to talk to my spirit. I know I want a copy of those 5 things too. This is a season of our intentional giving program. One aspect of this time we enjoy hearing from members as they reflect and share about what makes the Unity Center their spiritual home. I would like to introduce Marty Bankhead, who served in so many ways with the Unity Center and always with a smile on her face. And for years, she was team leader for Food from the Heart. She has dedicated and has endless creative ideas. Marty, thank you for being here.
There we go. Unmuting would be a really good idea. Sorry, that song just really got to me. It took me a second to kind of come back. So for anybody who hasn't been here recently, I'm here today to answer the 64-cent question of why intentional giving. And I don't know what it was that brought you here, but I've been here for 20 years because at the core, the New Thought message is positive. You are a unique and valuable creation of the universe. Because it doesn't matter if you call it God, the universal mother, the holy whatchamacallit, or Holy Spirit. There is an energy force that is in everything, in you, in me, working through each of us. If we will just pay attention to what is there is to be seen, to be heard, to be done, to be learned, as Jan says. And I'm here because at the Unity Center of West Lynn, because we have a congregation who care about each other, even if we're inconsistent and sometimes in reaching out to each other. And someone asked me recently, well, okay, why participate in this intentional giving? What's the big deal? And my answer starts with the question. Could you at age 35, your age 35 self, plan for the future if you didn't know how much your paycheck was going to be every week? Who of us on Social Security could run our household if we had no idea how much that payment was going to be each month? Our spiritual home is no different in its need to plan and for consistent support. The solution is simple. Whether it's $5 a month or $500 a month, each of us makes our spiritual home stronger and more able to help all of us and all those whom we invite us or to join us get through. No, not just get through, but more able to be part of and embrace the abundance of the opportunities that are just waiting for us. This applies not only to the Unity Center West Lynn as a whole, but to each individual. This opportunity can happen if we all come together to support our spiritual home through the coming year by committing to intentional giving. Plus, it's easier, and who doesn't like that? 2021 is a year of abundant possibilities. I'm in. Who's with me? Don't all shout at once. Let's just do it. I'm not seeing a lot of hands raised. Come on. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Marty. It's such good reasons for intentional giving. And I'm with you. It's easy. I put it on my credit card and I get points or miles. Makes it even better. So thank you for sharing that and your reasons. And yes, this is my spiritual home, and it is a home. You're my people, and I want this to continue. So here's the information you will need to find an easy way to donate. You can go to the Unity website, which is worldhealing.org. And as members of our community, we're giving back to the universe in ways that serve us, our time, our finances, and our love. And our giving is an act of creation. And when we give with power and commitment. As you say, it's easy to give, even though there's no basket, from the website, online, or by check. And special thanks to our intentional givers who give monthly automatically. Every gift is important. We begin this year with an intention and a vision for our 30th year. And in March, we'll be beginning our 31st year. Spirit-led, we are co-creating a vibrant, inclusive ministry, welcoming and supporting everyone on their spiritual journey. We've set a high vision, and we love to keep envisioning it. And together, we bless your gifts and offerings, and we say, God's love in me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God. And we have some announcements. Today's book study group on Ho'oponopono, easy for you to say. This is a consciousness and healing practice from Hawaiian mystical culture, which fits well into unity principles and quantum physics. Marilee Payne is leading that. We have this week and then one more week, and we'll be finished. But you're certainly welcome to join us at any time. You'll still benefit from it. You can go weekly to the e-news to get the Zoom link, or stay after the service and get the link from Marilee Payne. And thanks again to everyone who helped get the center office moved last weekend. There was packing up to do, there were boxes to get, there were decisions to be made, and so many people helped with that. But most especially, we acknowledge and thank our fearless project leader, Olivia West. The move was planned to be on Saturday. However, Plan B had to take effect, and the move happened on Sunday. So we praise the amazing job she did. But along with tirelessly hardworking Jan Carothers came to help her on Sunday while she was still up to her ears with the movers. So thank you, Jerry, too. Heading up this move, Olivia spent 2 months getting us ready. She planned every event, working with the board, coordinated with Sharon, our administrator, with the Etchemendis and with the Lutheran Church, our new hosts. She enrolled volunteers to help pack, made utilities arrangements, hired movers, organized the packing, laid out the new office and storage space, and leading the moving days. Thank you so much, Olivia. We appreciate you. We're so grateful for your skills, your generosity, and for all your hard work. It's clear you rock. And Jerry, we love you both. And our new office is in the Lutheran Church. And so remember this new address. I had to change my address book. 20390 Willamette Drive, Westland 97068. So it's just changing the number. Our Unity phone number remains the same. Sharon has unpacked and has the office all set up. She works from home on Monday and Tuesday and will be in the office on Wednesday afternoons. So call and drop by for a COVID-safe visit. Also, we're excited about our excellent upcoming workshop series. And this is by Reverend Christine Green, The Art of Abundance. It's based on the 2018 book by Dennis Merritt Jones. And I ordered the book already from Powell's and got it. And it was a used book, so it was relatively inexpensive. It will be on Thursday evenings, March 4th, 11th, 18th, and 25th from 6:30 to 8 p.m. Early bird tuition through March 1st is $49. After March 1st, it will be $60. You can register now by check, PayPal, or Venmo. The specific information for signing up is in each week's Thursday's Unity e-News in the know. Or you can mail her directly at Reverend Christine at reverendchristine.com. Because it's a special opportunity of our intentional giving program, we're grateful to Reverend Christine for setting the class tuition at 50% lower than her normal class rates. I love a deal. A delightful gift of abundance. Plus, she's sharing a percentage of all the fees with the Unity Center. So, you're welcome. Invite your friends, family to join also. That one good thing about Zoom is we can join from wherever we are. So imagine what fun this is going to be. And remember, it's online, so location doesn't matter. Everyone can come. Upcoming this week is the men's group will be meeting again. We're thankful that Jim is back from Seattle and able to lead this again. So that will be tomorrow evening, Monday, February 8th. You have to bring your own pizza. So Jim is the leader and he sent out a Zoom link to regular members. If you're new and would like to attend or know someone who would, stay after the service and ask for his email and the link, or get his number from the email and the e-news. The Women's Circle will gather on Zoom this Tuesday evening on February 9th at 6:30. We'll have a Valentine's celebration. You're invited to set a fun meal for yourself and something you like to eat, or bring something fun and creative to share for Valentine's Day. We're going to talk about love, different aspects of love. What does love mean to you? How do you share love? You might want to bring a poem or a song or a reading. Or just bring yourselves. You should be getting a link by email from Olivia if you'd like to attend and you're on the list. Just if you'd like to attend and are not on the list, just stay after and we'll get you the link. In the future, check the weekly e-news. As we complete our service, we symbolically blow out the candle, but we know the light never goes out. Why? Because we are the light. And we'd like to share a special short video meditation from Reverend Linda Martella Whitsett from Unity Village on moving from fear to faith. It seems perfect for our stormy topic of today.
With a soft inward gaze and a gentle breath, I recognize the light of spirit that is my source and true nature. Focused on the light, I look with kindness upon fears and worries, for they urge me to harness my great power of faith. By faith, I dare to see what cannot be seen by human eyes, but exists as surely as the sun exists behind a cloud. I trust in universal goodness, so much so that I rest deeply in the peace of spiritual assurance. I remain faithful during times when my human brain cannot envision the magnificent possibilities of a healthful life, harmonious love, or boundless prosperity. Moving from fear to faith, I see my life through spiritual eyes. I trust my divine identity as the greatest reality, and I live in joyous expectation.
Let's read this affirmation together. Grounded in faith, my abundance grows. I plant seeds of prosperity, knowing they will grow in the fertile soil of spiritual substance. And let's join me in your own home as we say the prayer of protection and transformation. The light of God is in us. The love of God moves through us. The power of God transforms us. The presence of God is who we are. Wherever we go, God is, and all is well. And thank you so much for being here today, for your support and participation. Let's all reach out this week in love and the spirit of unity. Have a beautiful, safe, and healing week. Please join us again. We're here every Sunday for inspiring messages, meditation, prayer, and music. And plan to catch the final part of Jan's series of talks on conflict, practicing the art of forgiveness, on February 28th. If you have need for personal spiritual counseling or caring prayer support, please feel free to contact Reverend Julie Applegate, our loving and generous transitional minister. Her contact information is in the newsletter, or email her for an appointment at her easy to remember email address, reverendapplegate@gmail.com. And remember, there is live prayer support available for you 24/7 at silentunity.org. Go to the website to get the phone or email information. When you attend live on Sundays, you're warmly invited to stay online after the service for our community time, for discussion and connection with our speaker and our friends. It's not the same as being there in person, but I sure like seeing everybody on Sundays for this after service time. Even if we don't have the coffee and goodies, we have to provide our own, but we love to welcome and meet with you personally and get to know you if we don't already. So have a good weekend.